En la base Shura de las Fuerzas de Defensa de Israel, sede del rabinato, el sargento rabino Ben Ziman contó humildemente las formas en que había cumplido un papel que muchos considerarían imposible. Man es hijo de inmigrantes estadounidenses. Tiene 35 años y es padre de 5 hijos.
Early morning, October 8th, I get a text message, "Can you please come to Shura base?" I have no idea what I'll be doing, and only once I got here did I realize. You see, when we pray for someone's health, we pray for refuat haguf, we pray for physical health, but we also pray for refuat hanefesh. We pray also for mental health. And that's the story of this base. Unfortunately, I wasn't a combat soldier. I wanted to be, but my medical profile wasn't high enough. And I found myself serving in the IDF rabbinate. I was the chief rabbi of the IDF's PA. When the war breaks, I thought I was completely useless and unfortunately wouldn't be able to help in anything. I had no training, no nothing. I, before October 8th, had never seen a dead body in my life, not as part of my army service, and not as part of, Chevra Kadisha. I joined a part of this team also who had no prior experience, and within 15 minutes, I already find myself holding a body and just covered in blood. Many of my friends couldn't take it. I had a friend who was fine until he had a stain of blood, like blood dripped on him, and he just had a panic attack. Took off his uniform and never came back. I had a friend who was fine until he opens a body bag. And inside is a 9-year-old girl. And he has a 9-year-old daughter at home. He just closed the bag, ran out of the building, and never came back. I mentioned this 9-year-old girl. Looking at this building, this is the IDF rabbinate morgue. This was a place where only soldiers were supposed to be brought. Civilians have this place in Israel called Abu Kabir. That's Israel's forensic institution. However, midday October 7th, the government realizes that Abu Kabir can't contain these numbers. No one was prepared for such a scenario, and this building, this base, becomes a place where every single one of the fallen, not only soldiers, but civilians were brought here as well. So if you've heard about the Nova and Be'eri and Kfar Aza, this place becomes the sole place. About a third of this building is offered for the civilians to be brought here, and this becomes the place where every single one of the people killed on October 7th is brought to. You're not going to see many guns here. You're not going to see people who might not be very strong or ripped or who knows what, but it's people who are genuinely injured, deeply, deeply injured mentally.
En esta camilla yacen los cuerpos de cada judío que en el ejército israelí dan su vida por Israel en la lucha contra el yihadismo.
It sinks in over time. That's I think part of sort of that post-trauma where you suddenly see a truck and you have flashbacks of what you saw, and it's not easy. About a month into the war, the chief rabbi of the UK, of England, Rabbi Ephraim Mervis, was here. He told me that morning he spoke to President Herzog on the phone. And President Herzog heard that he's heading to Shura, and he said, "I heard the place is Sha'arei Gehinom, the gates to hell." However, Rabbi Mervis responded to him beautifully. He quoted a pasuk, he quoted a verse from Parashat Vayetze. And the pasuk goes as follows, "Ma nora hamakom hazeh." This place is not an easy place. However, he continues, "Enze ki im bet Elokim." This is nothing but the house of God. V'zeh sha'ar hashamayim. The Talmud, the Gemara says, the harugei malchut, referring to those who die in Kiddush Hashem. If he is killed because he is Jewish, he gets this high holy status. And if that's true to anyone, imagine when talking about IDF soldiers.
El capitán rabino Benjamín Zimmerman de la rama Alajá del Rabinato de las Fuerzas de Defensa de Israel nos explica que uno de los principios centrales que guían el enfoque del rabinato es la creencia de que cada soldado es parte de una familia más grande. Este vínculo familiar no es solo metafórico, sino que está profundamente arraigado en la cultura del ejército.
One of the reasons that we give such special treatment to fallen soldiers, there are many reasons. Number one, we view all the soldiers as family. Number two, we also recognize that when a soldier goes out to battle, if he knows that we will do our utmost to bring them back alive, but if that's not possible, we will never stop short of bringing them back. To burial, they fight differently. And part of that you could see through other armies in the world. Other armies in the world, if, about 4 months ago, 2 Navy SEALs from the American Navy go overboard, and the search party goes on for 10 days, and then they give up, the Israeli army never gives up on a soldier. It has search parties, even entire units of the army, that are searching for soldiers from the War of Independence, just to be able to know where they were buried and to give them the proper honor.
This is the place where 1,500 angels were brought to. To me, this is probably one of the holiest buildings one could visit. And there was a point, I was sitting right over here. We had just gotten information that they're about to bring a truck and there are going to be a lot of kids and families, and I needed to mentally prepare myself. And I just burst out in tears, and I sit down and I'm just trying to prepare myself. And a friend comes to me and he says, Bensi, do you not realize what we're doing? Do you not realize how lucky and privileged we are? The Gemara says no one could come anywhere near them, and yet we're lucky enough to be there. People refer to the Chevra Kadisha's work as chesed shel emet. Why true kindness? Because the person who passed away can't return the favor, he's now dead. When it comes to IDF soldiers, that's not chesed, that's gratitude, that's hakarat tov. They literally lost their lives protecting all of us. The least I could do is to do that work. With the Hamas, in the way they treated the bodies, in the way they didn't just murder them. I believe they tried also to make us here perceive these holy bodies as, unfortunately, just pieces of flesh. And to me, we cannot let Hamas win.
El rabino Ben Siman ha visto cosas que son difíciles de comprender.
On the first day or two, this whole entire space over here is packed with soldiers on the floor. When they come into this room, into the Cheder Preda, when they see their loved one, their son, daughter, brother, sister, father, mother, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, families come here in different shapes and forms, and they have those moments, those literally final moments. And to me, I think this is the Kodesh HaKodeshim. Those moments, I believe, is what gives me the ability, in addition to faith, of continue going. This pain, this burden, this really extremely heavy burden that I carry, that my friends here carry, that all IDF soldiers carry, that all civilians in Israel carry, is the same burden that they're carrying as well. And being here and feeling that and experiencing it is what gives me the ability. See, a therapist that I went to and spoke to thought that it's best I don't speak to groups. Apparently, from a PTSD standpoint, it actually worsens symptoms, but I told her like that feeling of unity, that feeling of togetherness, that feeling that we'll go through this together is worth so much. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Thank you, Bensi. Gracias.
Tודה רבה.
Gracias.